If your life feels out of alignment right now, your relationships, your business, your energy, it's not because you're doing something wrong. It's because somewhere along the way, you stopped deeply connecting with you. You might have abandoned yourself a little bit in terms of self-care. You might have stopped thinking about what it is that you need because you're too busy looking at everybody else. But we always have to remember that our outer world always mirrors our internal reality. If we are neglecting ourselves, if we are not looking after our own health, our own soul health, physical health, mental health, we can't possibly expect the rest of our world to work as well. So in this podcast, we're going to deep dive into what that looks like and give you some tools on how to shift this and step into a life that you're actually really excited to live.
You're listening to the Intuitive Mastery Podcast. Hi, I'm Kate Connolly, and with over 15 years of intuitive healing and teaching experience, I'm here to help you celebrate intuition and value authenticity to create a world where you have the freedom to live your best life. This podcast is here to teach you how to apply the principles of spirituality, healing, and mindset to have true and lasting joy, all from the inside out. This is the Intuitive Mastery Podcast.
Hello, my beautiful spiritual family. Let's just give ourselves a moment to drop into the space first and just allow yourself to open up to the information and the downloads from today. So I'm just going to get you to take a deep breath with me. Shut your eyes if you can. And just let the world fall away for just a moment. This is your time for you to soften, to land, and to return to yourself. There's no rush. There's no right way to be here. Just let your body settle, your heart open, and your energy drop into the space. You've already done the bravest thing just by showing up, so let's begin. So today we are talking about this concept of mirroring, and I have to say I had the worst reminder of this last week. I set up a session with a trusted healer of mine, and I don't have many. I've only got 2 or 3 that I will kind of return to again and again. And I've kind of done the rounds. I've been to many different healers in my life. And I was exceptionally disappointed by his one response to me, which he repeated for an hour, which was, your soul needs caring for. You need to look after yourself. Your world is a reflection of you. Come back to you. Make this about you. And I teach this. I know this. I know it intellectually. I embody it most of the time. But what was frustrating is that I was expecting this really convoluted, spiritual, deep kind of story, healing kind of, something to emerge from the chaos that I was facing at the time. And I had been for a week or 2. And his extremely simple approach of look after you actually really annoyed me because I didn't want to hear it. I'm like, no, it's more than that. It's more than that. And he said, trust me, when you slow down, when you look after you, your whole world will change. Everything will start to flow again. And I felt it, like I knew the truth in his words. But I was just so annoyed. I spent time and money hearing what I teach people, and it just came straight back at me, and I was very frustrated. But one of the practical things that he gave me, which I'll share with you in a minute, has actually just allowed me to remember to reflect on myself a lot more often. So I don't know if you're one of these people, but for a lot of people out there, women more than men, but men do it as well. My husband can do this, is always think about other things, other people, what they need, what the house needs, what, your children, your friends, your colleagues, what everybody else needs. And we forget about ourselves. And it can come down to fundamental things like even dating. The amount of clients/patients that I speak to about dating And they're always talking about, well, this person, likes me for this and they're really interested and, they want me for these reasons and blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, hang on, what about you? Like, what do you want? How is this person going to help you feel amazing in your life? What about your needs? What is your soul telling you? What are your guides saying? Like, bring this back to you. And as much as I teach this and I know this, I often forget I have 4 kids. I have a husband who's setting up a business right now, so his mind is like in all different places. I have parents that I live nearby who are a great support, but often need my support as well. And it's just one of those situations where if I don't prioritize time for myself, it literally goes. I walked through my house today and it was gross. Like, I would like a neat, clean house, and everywhere I went, there was something. And I've probably spent 7 or 8 days, and with 6 people in a house, that's a lot of not tidying, cleaning, tidying up, looking after things, putting stuff away twice a day. I haven't been doing that. And it is a nightmare. My house is a nightmare. And I understand the feng shui concept of having everything neat and tidy and everything kind of flowing in the house. I agree. And sometimes I need to go, okay, what do I need right now? And what I need right now, more than a neat and tidy house, is to rest for a bit or take a walk or call a friend, do something else, do something different. And normally I would push through. And I had this moment a few days ago where I tuned in and my guides and my higher self were saying, go and lie down, go and rest. Like, just give yourself some time. And I didn't do it. I said, okay, look, I will, but I was juicing celery. I just want to juice some celery first. So I juiced it. And they're like, now go lie down. And I'm like, well, hang on. But my kids need something. I can't even remember what the something was, but they needed something. I'll do that and then I'll go lie down. So I did that. And then I turned around and my husband was off doing his computer work and there was dishes everywhere. So I thought, oh, I'll just do the dishes. And by this time, my guides were getting pretty annoyed with me and they basically started getting, really loud. And I talk with my guides and my higher self all the time. I'm in constant connection with my soul energy and with my people. And they were actually just starting to say, you said you were going to lie down, go lie down, go lie down, go lie down, go. And as I was washing up, I'm like, hey, I'm just finishing this washing up. And they said, you said that 3 things ago, go to bed now. Like, you need to go and lie down. Even if it's for 5 minutes, go lie down. And sure enough, at that moment, one of my family members, I can't even remember who it was, spoke up, and the irritation in my body was so intense that I thought, oh, right, got it. I need to go lie down. So I was able to breathe through that and just calmly respond, which I thought was pretty amazing considering how escalated I felt in that moment. I took my washing gloves off, I put them down halfway through the washing, and I laid down. And I only needed to lie down for, I think it was 5 minutes, maybe 10. Like, it wasn't a long period of time, but it was enough for me to come back to myself and breathe and to just take a moment. And I forget to do this often, especially when my family's around. It's better when no one's around. I just absolutely love time to myself because then I can kind of focus on me. But if you have a big family, if you have a busy career, you need to be able to stop at all times, not just when no one's in the house, which for me is like almost never. I can't have those moments where I just go and do those 3 Pilates classes and the swimming thing and the this thing and the that thing whenever I want because there isn't that opportunity with 4 kids and 2 of them are not in school yet. So, it's full on. So, what I have to do instead is I still need to replenish my soul. I still need to give it those moments, but I need to snatch moments of time as I go. I do have a very, very, very short morning routine that I do and a very, very short evening routine because by the time I get to bed, I'm so tired. I can't even stay awake for my meditation half the time. And when I'm getting up in the morning, at least 50 to 60% of the time, I've got a child in my face or there's been a child in my bed and there is no moment to breathe. So, the trick that my healer told me was, what do I need in the next 5 minutes? Right? Really simple question. And even at the time, I was kind of cursing him, thinking, oh my gosh, why am I doing this? This is so dumb. And yet it has been really fantastic. I give bits of information and advice to people like this all the time, but it was just such a profound moment of ego death when I realized I was absolutely not doing that for myself. I wasn't giving myself the time and space to breathe. I wasn't giving myself any moment to just connect in. And, when I was really kind of on top of things and I was meditating twice a day for a number of months, everything just felt so much easier. It was so much calmer. It was so much more balanced. And what's happening this year is, for a lot of people, but definitely for me as well, is that there's just a call to kind of heal things more deeply. There's a call to actually really kind of get to the bottom of the barrel of things that are still left over. So if you're in a state in your life where things that you thought were resolved are coming back up for you, if you're having experiences where, I mean, we're in March 2025 now, so January, February, March have been massive kind of clean out months in my experience, and when I've seen clients as well, of, you thought that was done, but we just want to show you the darkest depths of that issue that is still unresolved. And what we're being called to do is deeper, more powerful, more profound self explorations to understand ourselves more deeply and to heal things to the highest possible extent that we can. And part of that massive lesson for me is stepping out of martyr and stepping out of everybody else first and coming back to my own soul needs. And if I don't check in with my soul at least once a day, and at the moment it's multiple, so that's great. But if I don't at least deep breathe or do a couple of minutes of meditation or tuning into my guides every single day, I will start to fall apart. It's just part of who I am. My energy is very sensitive. It's very fine. It's finite. So if you look at, I can't even remember the modality. I've actually got my laptop here. It is the human design. There it is. My human design is as a projector. And I remember one of the requirements of a projector is to only work 3 to 5 hours per day. And I'm pretty good at that most days, but I do have one 12-hour day per week, which is like mind-blowingly exhausting for me. And I smash out as much work as I can, and then I get home and I basically pass out, and it takes me a good day and a half to kind of recover from that. But I'd rather, with my family's commitments, do that at the moment than kind of separate it out across multiple days. But here's the thing, if I don't give myself that rest time, by 3 to 4 days after that, I'm so depleted, I'm actually snapping everybody's head off. And you just can't do that. It's not a functional way to be. So for me, if anyone is like an empath or a spiritual seeker or someone whose energy is really sensitive, someone who picks up on other people's energy, someone who gets tired easily, someone who feels really kind of in tune to people and things around them, if you're not constantly replenishing your energy, and I'm not talking about physical energy, I'm talking about soul energy, emotional energy. If you're not constantly replenishing that, you are going to be exhausted and really, really pissed off, basically. So, what I'd like you to do, I don't know why I have to bring swear words into here, but just what I do. Um, I think it's just so important to remember those soul check ins. They help us keep ourselves in our highest possible vibration of who we are. Like, we're constantly having to remind ourselves to come back to that soul self, that I am presence, not the part that's suffering and in ego and struggling with life, not the part of us that really wants to have that argument with our partner, not the part of us that is really wanting to sabotage our work. Like, it's not that part of us that we want to be connecting in with. And the only way to kind of step out of that constant ego battle is to come back into our bodies and ask the question, what do I need right now? What do I need in the next 5 minutes? How can I show myself love right now? If I unconditionally loved myself, what would I do in this moment? What decision would I make? And every time we kind of bring it back to ourselves and make it an internal journey rather than an external journey, there's this sense of kind of peace and relaxation. There's a grounding energy that we have. We just feel calmer in our bodies. We have that sense of knowing that we're in the right place, doing the right thing at the right time. And that feeling, you can't replicate that anywhere. You can't fake that. It's not possible to fake that. And the only way that we can do that in any real way is to go internal first, right? Continually come back to our view of the world. And this is the beautiful thing is that, and I've seen this happens to me all the time, especially with my babies, my two young ones, my 5-year-old and my 3-year-old. Every time I come back to myself, every time that I've had even a few moments of just breathing and coming back to myself, sending myself a bit of compassion, sending myself a little bit of love and support and grounding, every time that I've connected into what my soul is telling me and giving me guidance on something, there's just this energy of peace around me, and my kids are immediately calmer. My husband is immediately calmer. My patients are immediately calmer. So if I can't hold that space for me, there is absolutely no way I can hold it for other people. So if there's chaos around you, if your kids are in chaos, if your partner's in chaos, if your world is in chaos in some way, invite yourself to ask what's in chaos within you. What is the reflection here? Everything in our world is a reflection of how we think, feel, and vibrate everything. And if we are having any level of dysfunction or stress or worry or pain, anything that's happening in our external world is going to be reflected in us. Now, I learned about this paradox the other day, which I found really, really fascinating. And I was talking about this concept of being in close relationship with other people. And it was kind of in a triangle. And most spiritual coaches out there, most people who teach about the law of attraction, they make it all about you. They make it all about you. And everything in your world is a direct reflection and mirror. And there's been a part of me that's always believed that to an extent. And then there's also been another part that's gone, but what about people who have such a massive influence on us? It's not all their fault and it's not all my fault, but there's got to be some level of interaction here. There's got to be some level of how, especially with like a partner or a child or a parent, there's going to be a co-creation of your reality. It's not all on you and it's not all on them. So what do we do with that information? How do we understand? So he was explaining this as a paradox. This guy, Edward Mannix, he does this beautiful compassion work. But if you look at life as a bit of a triangle, right? And this is the paradox of, in one corner we have our reality that we create, and everything that's in our reality is a direct reflection of us. Okay, that's one corner. Another corner is the impact that a close person has on us, and especially if we feel triggered by that person, upset by that person, if we're in a constant kind of entanglement issue, every time they're angry, I start feeling angry, etc., then we need to look at that part of the equation as well. How much is that person influencing my reality and my well-being? If you go to someone in a really abusive relationship and they've been severely abused for years, and it doesn't matter what they do, it doesn't matter how much help they get, it doesn't matter how much healing they do, that person is still overwhelming their energy. Is it really their fault, right? Have they 100% created that reality? My experience is no, I don't think they have. Do we blame that on the universe? Or do we still have some part of us that's reflecting the other person's ability to influence us so deeply? So we still have to look at that relationship. We have to look at us, yes, but we also have to look at the influence that that other person has on our sense of self. Okay. Then there's a third part of the triangle, which is, as far as I'm aware, and I'm still kind of understanding this, but it's almost like the power dynamic. Who has more power? Who has more energetic sovereignty in this situation? So if you're in a relationship with someone and every time they walk in the room, their power dominates you and the people around you, this could potentially form another part of that triangle. And I don't know if I've got that 100% correct, but this paradox absolutely between how much I create, how much someone is influencing me, and then the relationship between the two of us influencing our reality, all of that is real. And the person that is the star of my own show, me, and you're the star of your own show, you are still going to have an influence on that. You're still going to have a resonance within you that's allowing that to come to you. But we also need to be working on how that other person's energy is impacting you. So, not everything is 100% your fault. Not at all. Do we take responsibility for our lives? Absolutely. Do I need to be blaming myself for someone else's behavior? Never. Literally, never ever. And how do I change my life so that I'm not unduly influenced by that person all the time? How can I live in a place of sovereignty where my energy becomes my reality and people with big energies or big stuff that come into my field, if I'm supposed to have them in my field, yes, they're going to help me learn about me. Yes, they'll help me, heal another level of my soul if they're creating drama, trauma, pain, and whatnot in terms of the reflection. Everything's a reflection, everyone's a reflection. But what do I need to do in this dynamic to help separate me from whatever pain they're in? How can I heal that tiny reflection of me and them? So typically what I'm noticing so far anyway is that other people's big emotions, other people's big traumas, all of their issues, they might be like this tiny resonance in you. But every time they behave in a certain way, it's going to flare it up. It's going to make this like a really profound, massive thing for you, even though it's not really yours, and even though it's not a massive part of you and your sovereignty alone. And I do think that this dynamic alone is a very big reason why we separate from particular partners. It's going to be even more so if your partner's not interested in any kind of self-help or looking after themselves. But I think this is a really big part of it. But if you can learn how to come back to you on a regular basis and, do what you can to self-care, you've got at least one portion of that triangle sorted with all of your close relationships. Now, with further and more distant relationships, it's going to be less so. But I've still treated many, many people who have huge relationship dynamic issues in their workplace. And they may not necessarily be very close to a person, but that person is having a profound impact on their well-being and their sense of self. Does that mean that, it's all my fault and I don't need to deal with that dynamic? Personally, I don't think so. I think we need to look at yourself, but also the dynamic as well. And then we also need to look at how the whole thing, how you guys are co creating reality together. So it does get a little bit more complicated. I hope I haven't confused you too much, but I think it was just mostly to make you and help you realize that your world, yes, it's a reflection of who you are. How you show up is deeply important. It's more profoundly important as females who hold spiritual energy in a household, because you become this very, very powerful vortex from which everything else goes. So you mastering patience and the ability to be present and the ability to stay calm and the ability to kind of work through things without getting frustrated and angry with anybody for whatever reason, your ability to meet people where they're at, especially kids who are struggling, and definitely still partners, us being able to master those things in our own lives keeps that sense of soul connection to yourself, but also to your close people. So you're going to, by constantly rechecking in with yourself, allow yourself to be calmer, safer, more empowered, following your soul path, but also holding space for others so your whole home can actually benefit really strongly. Now, if that isn't enough, then you start looking at the interactions. You start looking at how other people can impact you and how we can shift that as well. And it's not to blame them at all because we've attracted them into our lives. There's still going to be a tiny resonance, but we still need to work on that relationship as an energetic entity, if that makes sense. So, if you want to learn more about that, we do a lot of deep diving in the Intuitive Mastery School where we go into different parts of relationships, we go into different parts of energetic sovereignty, and we work with how we can clear energetic kind of patterns of behavior between you and other people, and how you can kind of bring your life back to a sense of empowered sovereignty rather than feeling like you're the victim of someone else's pain, which is unfortunately way, way, way too common for my liking. So if you are interested, we do have the link down below to join. It is really as cheap as $10 per week if you want to join and have access to all of our database. And we also have live classes every single week where I'm there with you, working through scenarios, answering questions, dealing with all of the different topics that we kind of dive into in the Intuitive Mastery School. So if you want to come and join us, you're more than welcome. We would love to have you. Click on the links below. So, one of the things that I just want to kind of dial it back, I kind of got quite deep there for a moment, I guess. But if you want to understand whether you're in a place of not listening to your soul, you're going to be feeling things like unappreciated. You're going to be feeling overextended. You're going to be attracting people, clients, circumstances that drain you. Your work is going to feel exhausting. And it's going to feel like you're putting in constant effort without return. Now, these are usually reflections of internal disconnection and not failure. And I had to really, really remind myself of that last week because I felt like I was treadmilling. I actually lost access to my Instagram account. I got suspended. No idea why. I actually have no idea why, what happened there. I really hope that gets put back on. But even if it doesn't, it was just another one of those many signs last week that my life was just not moving forward. There were just all of these like hiccups and um, absolute treadmilling, this feeling that I was just putting in loads of effort and nothing was coming back. Nothing from anybody. And when I got that information from my healer, I thought, oh my gosh, like the fundamental. This is like a fundamental spiritual 101 basic topic. You have to self care so that your world can reflect care to you, right? You have to be in a sovereign, healthy, balanced place for the universe to start helping you and supporting you to getting you where you need. Now, this can be a really, really small thing. It doesn't have to be a big one, but we have to remember that the more deep we have a relationship with our soul, the more we can bring ourselves back to our sovereignty, the more magnetic we become. Like the more selfish we are, the more we look after ourselves as a first step, then the more people want to be around us, the more they want to buy from us, or the more they want to spend time with us, the more they want to look after us, the more they want to support us, etc., etc., etc. Okay? So, bearing this in mind with your relationships, if your partner is not giving you what you want, it's probably because you're not giving you what you want. It's probably because you're not looking after yourself and you're expecting someone else to perhaps rescue you out of the situation that you're in. And that may work sometimes with some relationships with limited success. But if you want to have a permanent energy shift around this, it really has to come from you first. And it is it's a very, very frustrating experience for me to kind of come back to my own fundamental knowing and have to repractice it because my patterning, my natural patterning is to go back into martyr. So remembering that alignment with your soul changes your frequency and your outcomes, it makes you magnetic. It makes the world want to support you, like the universal energies, but also the people and the experiences, then you start getting supported. As a projector in, I've forgotten the name again, um, in the, why do I keep forgetting what this is? I have to look it up again. This is where my brain's at sometimes. Human design. Oh my gosh. As a projector in human design, the main focus is my energy. If my energy isn't great, then when I show up, the impact will be zero. So if I don't look after myself first, if like all of my lessons are coming back to looking after myself first, and for pretty much everyone listening to this, it will probably be the same thing for you as well. Um, when you stop fixing the world and start holding yourself differently, everything will change. Everything. You will have real world changes. And I have noticed this. I've noticed this when I go from a place of feeling really exhausted and frustrated and angry and not expressing that, just having it internally and still speaking calmly and still, showing people the smile on the face and all the things. People don't feel it. You're still not getting what you need. And then after a while, I just get frustrated with that because I'm not good at the mask thing. And I just have to, like leave for a bit. Just leave, just breathe, look after myself. Even if it's like lying down watching 10 minutes of Netflix or flicking through YouTube reels or like something where I can just breathe for a moment. Neither of those are massively spiritually, um, connecting experiences, but I do that outside of those moments. I'm asking my people, what do I need in the next 5 minutes? What do I need to look after myself right now? What is my soul needing in this moment? And if I can ask that or versions of that question multiple times per day, especially if I'm starting to feel tired, especially if I haven't had time to meditate, especially if I haven't done all the things that I know that I would like to do for myself. So that might be tuning in with my business guides or tuning in with my health guides or tuning in with my relationship guides or just meditating or deep breathing or being in nature or physicalizing my spirituality with, I don't know, hugging a tree, doing some yoga, whatever it is that I want to do. I need to find those times for myself. And when I don't, sometimes I just need a quick time out just to breathe, right? Just to look after myself, to lie down, tune out for 5 minutes, reset myself, and then come back to things. Okay. So I think it's going to come back to constantly tuning into how you feel, checking in with choosing your truth over people pleasing. That's a really big one. And remembering that if we bring in a sense of energy hygiene, which means kind of clearing your own energy field, if that's cutting cords or grounding yourself or resetting your auric field, or just tuning into how you feel and just giving yourself permission to detach for a while, just give yourself a couple of minutes of time out. If you check and ask yourself constantly what it is that you need, and it doesn't matter if that's 30 times per day. If you're having a really exhausted day, you might have to ask yourself that many times. If you're having a day where you're in flow and things are great and, work feels amazing and your relationships are great and you've organized this beautiful date on Friday night or the holiday that you want to do, or, you feel like the money's flowing and energy's flowing and everything's feeling great, that's probably because you've already checked in with your people, number one, or you're following your intuitive advice, or you just don't need to tune in for that particular day anywhere near as much. Okay, I always like to tune in at least once, but if everything's in a really great place, you may not need to do that so much. So just constantly check back in with yourself. How am I doing right now? How am I feeling? Am I tired? Am I exhausted? We've explored this even in our intuitive eating. One of my self-care things is looking at the scale of hunger, where 10 is like starving and 10 is overfull and 0 is starving. And even as I tune into myself during the day and check in with where am I at, it helps me to decide when I'm hungry or hungry enough to eat and when I stop. And really small things like that, just coming back to my basic self-care practices of how can I look after myself right now, is the difference between me completely calm, completely balanced, becoming that magnet, and someone who's feeling depleted, exhausted, and resentful. Okay. And it doesn't take very long. Like I said, 5 minutes. What do I need in the next 5 minutes? It's a really simple question, really easy to do, and it does actually change everything. Okay. So your outer reality, it becomes the invitation for you, right? So everything around you is either affirming or activating you, right? When things are in flow, you've either got this affirming kind of state of, yes, this is it, keep going, you're doing great. Or if you've got all of this chaos around you and things are not working, this is an activation invitation. This is an invitation for you to go, oh, what do I need to shift? It's activating you, it's creating an opportunity for change. So when you want your world to change, ultimately, the main or the only way to do that first is to go within. Okay. If you don't do it, your world won't change. Your world changes only when you do. Okay. So if you're not sure about what to do, just start getting curious about your own body and your own emotions. How are you feeling right now? Do you feel happy? Do you feel sad? Do you feel irritated? Do you feel resentful? Do you feel exhausted? How are you feeling? And if you're feeling any of the activating emotions, why? Get curious. What is this about? Have I not looked after myself right now? What do I need instead? What do I need in the next 5 minutes to reset myself? Okay. Now, if you have the ability to go away for a weekend and reset, oh my gosh, please do it. If you need it, and if that's what your soul is guiding you to, absolutely, please do it, do it, do it. Right? If you don't have that ability, if you don't have anything planned, you don't have the time, that's a whole other topic. Give yourself 5 minutes, right? Just breathe, ask, expand time. What do I need in the next 5 minutes? I'm just going to look after myself for 5 minutes. 5 minutes never killed anybody. 5 minutes never changed the world, unless you've got to, catch a plane in the next 5 minutes. But you know what I mean? 90% of the time, it absolutely doesn't matter. That 5 minutes is absolutely negotiable. And give yourself a moment. If you have a meeting in 5 minutes and you're having a panic attack, maybe just go to the bathroom for 2 of those 5. Breathe, right? Deep breathe. Strike a superwoman pose. Give yourself an opportunity to just bring it in. It only takes a minute or two. It doesn't take long. Then you walk out with 2 minutes to go with your meeting ahead of you. You're reset at least 40 to 50%. You can kind of get your confidence back in, breathe, expand your energy, walk into the meeting. Okay? So I hope that was helpful. I hope you got something out of that. We do have the responsibility as sovereign humans to look after our bodies and to create a sense of attractor field, right? The magnetic kind of energy that we can create just by centering and honoring our own bodies and our souls and our emotions. And we do this by getting curious. We do this by following our own advice multiple times a day. And when we forget, we send ourselves a whole bunch of compassion and try again. All right, I hope that was really helpful. Have a fantastic week ahead of you, and I will see you